What up, guys? What up? What up? I am Lou. So this video is going to be part 4 of our Python text finder app that we've been working on, right? So ultimately, it's a web app, but we're compiling it so you could run it locally, kind of like a normal app, right? Like a normal desktop app. Run the service and you could just, but it's a web app. But we're going to add some logic. What we're going to do in part 4 is we're going to add logic to read PDF files, right? So we have logic to read text files, Excel files. The next thing that we're going to add now is logic to be able to read PDF files, because that's something that we want to be able to scan through, right? Those are probably, I would say, your 3 main files if you're trying to find keyword values for, which would be text. Text could be XML, JSON, just CSV, doesn't matter, right? That's all text. Excel, the big one. Then of course now we're going to do PDF. So that's what we're going to be doing this videos. But before we get started, guys, go ahead and hit that like button. Give me a follow. Again, appreciate it, man. Thanks for everything. And now let's get started, guys. Alright, guys, so I have the source code open for that project. Again, you could get it from my GitHub account. So ultimately, all we're doing here, we're adding on to it, right? We're just going to add on to it. That's the whole purpose here. That's what we're doing here. We're going to add on. So if we take a look at it, we have 2 files. We have our app file. This is where our Flask application is running. And then we have a text finder app. This is where the logic is running, right? In this case, the executing to find, to iterate over the directory path, get all the files, determine if it's a file or not a file, and if it is a file, what kind of file is it, right? Is it Excel? Because if it's Excel, then we want to run this function here, search Excel files. And then if it's a text file, we run this one. So over here it says to do, we're going to add a new one. The new one that we're going to add here is going to be logic for if it's a PDF file. So what we're going to do here, we're going to use the if else statement, and we're going to use the regular expressions, and then we're going to do find all. And what we're doing here is we're going to be looking for the file name, and we're looking for PDF, right? That's what we're looking for. And then of course, if it's true, then we continue on with this logic here. Now this, as you can tell, we have a function for text file, then a function for Excel. So we're going to create a function as well for PDF. So we got this set up. Now we just need to create the function so we could go ahead and pass in the same arguments, right? It's going to take a directory full pass argument and a file name argument. That's what it's going to take. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create a new function, and we're going to call this underscore search PDF file. So I'm not doing files, it should be file. I'm going to update this once we're done, kind of clean it up. It shouldn't say files with the S, it should just say file, because we're only processing 1 file at a time. So we'll get that corrected, but for this one we're going to call it file. And then same arguments, right? So we're going to do directory file path, then file name, right? So there are 2 arguments. All right, cool. So now that we have that in order, let's go ahead and kind of get certain things set up. But you know what? One thing I forgot. I don't know why I kind of skipped through this right away, and I shouldn't have. So I do have my, you know what? I don't have my project. So let me go ahead and activate. So let me do source env activate. Okay, cool. Now I have my environment activated. So one of the things that we do need to do first, though, because we're reading PDF files, so we're going to have to install a third-party package for this. So the one that I'm using is PyPDF2. So the reason why I like this package is it's pure Python. There are other packages out there that work well, but they're using, it's pretty much the Python code is being wrapped around a C++, file, for example. And again, I think they do that probably for performance and things of that nature. So there's some benefit to it. But in my case, I'm trying to keep it all pure Python. If there's a need, we can make changes. But for right now, they're not a true need. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and install that. So it will be pip install py pdf2. And cool. That's it. That was straightforward. So now that we have that installed, let me go up and I'm going to import the packages that I need for that. So in this case, it will be from py pdf import pdf reader, right? Because we're reading file. That's what we're doing here. So it's going to be pdf reader. So now let me kind of come back. So now we can get started on getting this function created. So one of the things I want to do, because the PDF could have many files, and I want to be able to report back which file, like my bad, PDFs have many pages, so I want to be able to report back what page it found the text that we're looking for in the PDF file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this page number, and I'm going to set it to 0. Right, I'm setting it to 0 because we are going to do an iteration, and then we're going to sequence that up to kind of determine what page it found the text that we're looking for. So that's the purpose for that. Next thing is going to be PDF pages, and this would be PDF reader, and then of course we're going to specify the full directory path to the file. Right, that's what's called directory file path, because it's the root path, file name, it's everything. Ultimately, what this is doing, it's reading it, and now we're pretty much assigning all of, as we read the PDF document, we're assigning it to this object, PDF pages, right? Call it pages because it's many pages, not just one. Okay, so once we do that, now I'm going to do a iteration over pages, PDF pages, and in this case, I'm going to call it page. Because what I'm getting back is I'm getting one object for that page. So I'm not getting back the raw data yet, like the text data, but what I'm getting back is, because I have a PDF with many pages, ultimately I'm getting back a page object back, right? So that's what I'm getting back in this case. But I have to iterate over that. So by me doing that, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm also going to sequence my page number by 1. Because again, it's iterating over. This is page 1, page 2, and so on. So it's kind of counting that aspect of it. The next thing is, now that I'm inside my page object, now I do want to get my page text, right? The text that relates to the page. So I'm going to do the page extract underscore text. So what this does is going to grab all the text from the PDF file, page, my bad, not the file, but the page. So, if you're in a page, it's going to grab all the text. Now, for me, that's still not good enough. I want to take it a step further. I want to be able to make every line in that text its own row. So I'm able to, return back which row I found a match in. So in order to do that, I'm going to call the split function. And I'm going to end up calling the new line character, right? Special character. This special character here ultimately represents new lines. So even though visually we don't see it, we may see a sentence, then we have another line, another sentence, and another line. In order to make that separation, there's the new line character there. Just like when you hit tab, right? If I hit enter, hit tab, well, that tab, we don't see it. But there is a new tab character, which is /T. That ultimately represents tab. You just don't see it. So that's kind of what we're doing here, to kind of split it up to each row, the text of one page. So after we do that, now we're going to iterate over each line of text. So we're going to do for line in page text. But also what I should have done here, I'm going to do enumerate. So the reason why I want to do enumerate, I want to be able to tell what line, right? Like the line number that it found that match. So I'm going to do an enumerate. And Enumerate, all that does, if you're not familiar with it, think of it as a mechanism to give you a sequence number as it's doing its iteration. That's all it really does, right? That's extra. So in this case, that's why I have another value in return, which is my index. Now that I'm iterating over my actual text, I'm going to be doing my search. So I'm going to have logic, regular expression, search. In this case, I'm going to be searching self underscore text value. So again, this is coming from up here on top, and this is based on the text value that's coming from the UI. This is again what we want to find. This is what we're looking for. And then I'm going to search this against line, right? The line is the line in text, and I want to see, does it exist? Does this value exist anywhere in that line? Is what I'm doing here. And then I'm doing flags equals RE ignore case. Ignore case just means don't worry if it's upper, lowercase, uppercase, just treat it all the same. And even if it's lowercase, but it's a match, right? Like I may type in a value, text value that's uppercase, but it found it matched that lowercase, go ahead and return that back. That's fine. Once we do that, that's it. If this is true, where it matches, it's going to return back true, which means it's going to execute the code of, the code within that statement. So in this case, we're going to end up building our string. What did I call it? String. Okay, result string. So in this case, it will be very similar to like these other ones, like Excel and text file, right? So it is going to be very similar to that. So in this case, we will do something like file name, right? Because we know we have file name, and we're going to call file name. Again, this is the actual argument that's coming in. All right, cool. To separate it, I'm going to put a pipe character, get that separated. The next thing that we're going to add on here is going to be page number. So again, PDFs have many pages. Let's say you have a PDF file with 1,000 pages. Well, you want to know what page it found this on. This is going to spit out those results. What page was it able to find it under? So this would be string page number. Because again, that's what this comes in, right? It's sequencing to determine what page number it is. But I got to convert it to a string because it's an integer. So I can go ahead and concatenate it to the string value. All right, so the next thing is going to be found at row number, right? So that, I mean, again, this is where our index is going to come in from whatever page it finds. Let's say it finds it on page 5. Well, what's in that page? What row did it find it in? So in this case, I got to convert this to a string because again, indexes are integers. Then I'm going to add it by 1 because if the index starting value is 0, I don't want to start at 0. I really want to start at 1 and then kind of increment up. So, that's why I'm doing converting it to a string, but I'm also adding whatever my index value is, adding it by 1. You know what? I forgot to do this. All right. So next is going to be what's next? The next thing is going to be row value. Okay, so this is the actual value, whatever the value is for the whole row. So like that, the reason why I'm spitting out the whole row is you can kind of see what other characters relate to that one that you match, that it matched against. So that's kind of the whole purpose behind that. All right, so now that we kind of built the result string, the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to append this to our results list that we have. Yep, so we have this results list, which again, it's up here, it's an empty list. That's where we're going to be appending those results. And then the final thing is going to be is found equals yes. Because again, if it found it, as long as it finds it once, it's gonna report it like, hey, I got a match, right? I found something, right? There's something that I found. So that's it, man. That's all we will do here for the PDF reader. Again, we're reading it, we're iterating by page, we're extracting the text, and then we're going to split up that text is what we're doing. And then ultimately we build our result string so we kind of display it back. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So now let's kind of add this logic. So we add logic already where if it's a PDF file, then we wanted to run this logic. So now that we have the function created, we're going to go ahead, that's what we're going to do. We're going to call the search PDF file, and then we're going to pass in directory file path, and then it will be file, right? So we have file, which is up here. Then of course, same thing, same parameters that we have in these other functions. So now the to-do list is I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna put it towards the end, but I'm gonna remove PDF because PDF no longer in the list. The next thing that's on the list is gonna be Word documents, which is DOCX or DOC. What's the other? They just call it DOC. I think DOC is like the old version. DOCX is the new version of Word docs. So we'll do that. We'll add some logic to that later. Here it would be check if file is PDF. Then ultimately again it'll run this logic. It'll extract and try to see if it could find it within the PDF file. Is ultimately what it would do here. So guys, that's it, man. That's all we have here. So now let me go ahead and let's test it out. I'm gonna go ahead and start it. App. So as I start it, I could go ahead and what happened? So let me close out of it. There it goes. So this is the server, my URL. So let me go ahead and show it. So so I have a folder already called text file storage, which is, I guess let me go find it, but let me go ahead and put some PDF documents in that folder. We could test it out. So let me find some real quick. All right, cool. So if we take a look at it, I just got this random file from the internet. So it's called resume samples. Then of course we have JSON. This is Excel, right? Yep, it's an Excel worksheet. Then of course we have CSV, Python, text, CSV, right? So we have different types of files. Let's go ahead and open up this guy though, because what I want to see is maybe we could let's try to find one of these keywords that should be in here. So like a good example would be, let's look for, I don't know, let's look for accounting, I guess. How often does accounting exist here? There you go. See how it's in here multiple times? So let's see what happens with this. Where's the page? Let me go back. Oh, you know what? It opened it up in a different. Let me go back and reopen this up. There it goes. All right, cool. So this is the directory path that I'm looking at. And then let's try to search accounting. Boom. Okay, something happened. We're missing some kind of value, I believe. So let's go ahead and look at and see what happened here. What am I missing? Oh, my bad. I'm missing the actual value. Damn it. I forgot that. So it would be string file. Got it. So now let's try again. Yep, continue. All right, per pass window object has no seek. So what I want to see here is, all right, see how the type, it's a pure pass, a pure window pass object. Now it still should have took it, but it seems like it's not liking it. So I'm wondering if what I may have to do here is convert this to a string, right? So if I would have just convert this to a string, which actually we should see what happened? All right, cool. So now let's try it one more time. PDF read has a blah blah blah. Oh, you know what? I know why. I just realized why. Damn it. So, see how we have PDF pages? So let me call this. I'm gonna call this. Let me call this PDF object, right? PDF object dot pages. That's what it is, man. That's what I had wrong. So it's gonna be dot pages. All right. So now that I have dot pages set up, now let's try again. Boom! We got some results. So that's good. So now we take a look at it. We show it's all coming from page 2. I think we saw that as well. Where's the folder at? There it goes. So what was it again? Which word was I looking for? I think it was it accounting? Let me check. It was accounting. So I just want to make sure. It found 7 times, 7 hits, which this has 7 matches as well, and they all seem to be on this page. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's just see. It does all show page 2. They show this file name, so that's good. And then the row, it could be a little iffy, but I think overall, I mean, it's doing its best, as you can tell. So the first one, row 11, which, what does it show? See how it says solid academic, which is this line right here, and then it ends with problem, which is problem. So it did find the row properly. Now the row number, it says row 11. This is probably, we kind of go backward. This is, let's say 1, 2, the space is probably 3 maybe, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, they just, I guess let's count non-spaces. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess it's, and then 10 maybe. So again, not one. I mean, it's kind of iffy just on how it's determining if it's counting a space, like a line break, I guess, and all of that. But it's somewhat decent, I guess, on determining the row. Like this other one, 17. So if this is 11, that means this is 12, 13. Space is probably 14, 15, 16, and then of course 17, right? Something like that. Then you have 21, which is next, which is 18, 19, 20, 21. So somewhat decent, I guess, but this kind of at least gives you, you know, it found what it was looking for, right? Let's find something else. Same directory, and there you go, it found it. So again, if it's a text file, it's searching through that. Let's see if we could find something that exists in both files. Like, there you go, I have geodata. So maybe let's look for Nebraska. It should be able to find that in both places, I think. And did it find it? Damn, it found Nebraska way too many times. I should have been more specific. Let's find this city. And let's see if it finds it in both places. There we go, they did. See our geodata CSV, and it found it right there. Boom. Row 50. So this is kind of strange. It found, oh, these are different line numbers. Oh, you know what? The zip code's different. That's why. Duh. I want to say what's different with the zip code. And then of course it found it in the PDF file a few times as well. Yep, found it in the PDF a few times. Probably where they went to school, that kind of stuff. Email. Cool, man. It worked. It worked like it's supposed to work, right? So again, guys, this is part 4 of us adding on to this text finder app. Again, I have had a use case for this in the past, which is why I kind of built it. I just never put a face to it. I just had more of a script, and it was more driven on text and Excel only. But I think what I'm going to start doing, start adding onto it, right? Like just like when we added PDF functionality, we're going to add Word functionality, and then, you know, just start adding on to it even more and more. But again, guys, hopefully this helps out. And give me a like, give me a follow. Appreciate it, guys, and peace.